Hey, checking in with my first check-in with the Donald Westlake novel, crime novel, Jimmy the Kid, 1994 Dortmunder novel. This is number 3 in the Dortmunder series, though they're all pretty much standalone, where Dortmunder and his hapless crew again trying to do a crime, and if it's like any of the other ones, they will completely fuck up and not gain anything from it. Um, and indeed, this one very much starts with Dortmunder trying to do kind of a second story job, but he counted the floors wrong, which his friend Kelp, his Jinx friend Kelp, um, calls down to him and says, "Hey, you're on the wrong floor." It's like, "Shut up!" It's like, and at which point, a lot of the neighbors start yelling at him too. It's like, "Shut up! We're trying to sleep here." It's like, "We're gonna call the cops." And it's like, "Fuck!" And he finally gets up there, and it's like, yeah, he had done the wrong floor, so they leave. It's like, great. And that's indeed how it starts. Is Dortmunder has been kind of trying to do very kind of little minor jobs, but his Kelp has a brilliant idea for a heist, and hilariously enough, Donald Westlake wrote under the pseudonym Richard Stark for his Parker novels. And I was hoping to read one of them, but they seem to have all gone out of the audiobook in the library. So I decided I'd settle for one of his Dortmunder books instead, which I think I'd found a little bit slow paced in the past, but I figured on audiobook it will zip along a lot quicker. And yes, Kelp has a plan, and it's like, here, read this book. And what it is, it's a Richard Stark novel called the Child Heist, which is apparently a non-existent Richard Stark novel that is fictional Donald Richard Stark novel that Kelp has said, "Hey, this is a pretty good idea. We'll kidnap a kid," and it lays it out. It's like a whole blueprint. And hilariously enough, Dortmunder is highly offended that Kelp would go behind his back to some writer guy for a plan. It's like he comes up with the plans, not some stupid fiction author writer. And he kind of discards it. But his girlfriend May kind of convinces him, it's like, look, you need to get like a good heist in, a good job. And he's like, yeah, because like basically they're just surviving on her her salary working at a drugs department store. And it's like, okay, fine. And so he reads it and it's like, okay, fine, we'll do it. But it's like, this is just, and May is like is very good at talking me over, because it's like, look, this is like the films. It's the auteur theory. In the auteur theory, the writer isn't, in films, isn't the author. It's the director who is the writer. He's the one who shapes things, who organizes things, who puts puts all the people plan together and executes. You are the auteur. It's like, okay, fine. What? Yeah. And he kind of, he that's enough to kind of get him in. So yes, the plan is to use a school bus to kind of basically stop a limo with a with a phone in it, and then they're going to use another truck to drive. Basically they'll drive the limo into that truck and whisk it away, and all this stuff. And we have some alternating chapters here of Parker. Of a Parker novel, which it's interesting because Parker novels are very stripped down, very terse, very like, we know what we're doing, we do it, versus the Dortmunder and Kelp and Murch, the driver, and all these guys who are just like very kind of, they fall, if they're staking something out, they fall asleep. The driver guy is always just obsessed with traffic and is always late and always telling you about how he was late and why he could have used this route or that route. He's a complete bore because that's all that he's obsessed with it, but he's also not able to get anywhere on time because of the traffic, which is hilarious for a wheel guy. And when it comes to the kid, because they in the Parker novel, it's like the kid is very, very childlike. And it's like you wear Mickey Mouse masks, and it's like, we're going to play make believe. And, you can be Mickey Mouse, even though the eyes are thing, but it's going to be make believe, and we're going to talk and kind of gentle the kid along. Whereas this kid has been getting taken to psychiatric psychiatrist sessions, where he's having very kind of in-depth and nuanced discussions with the psychiatrist. He's not reading a comic book in the back of the limo. He's reading the New Yorker about kind of the things. And yes, they pull off they start the heist, and of course Kelp misspells the detour sign, which is like, Christ, this is just the start of it. Dortmunder thinks. And they have it's just the kind of most hilarious, like, okay, they can't speak through the mask. No one can understand them. They have to pull the masks away to be able to actually get anyone to understand them. They are supposed to like drive the Cadillac onto the truck, but they can't use a metal plate because it won't fit back in, so they use planks. However, they only get the front wheels onto the plank, and then the back wheels doesn't work. And then it turns out in the end the Cadillac actually won't fit in the truck. It's like, Kelp's like, but cars are always supposed to fit in trucks. It's like, God. And then in the middle of the thing, suddenly they get a call on the limo's phone, and it's like, crap. Okay, kid, you have to answer, but keep it short. And it turns out it's a radio station, which is it's a quiz show radio station. And so the kid, Billy, starts answering the questions, and he's really good at answering the questions. And all the kidnappers and the chauffeur are all caught up in like, oh, are you going to get this right, that right? It's like, oh, it comes down to the zodiac signs, and Kelp helps them with the final answer, and they get it right. And it's like, great. And now he just no. And then Dortmunder's just like, hang up the phone. So he hangs up the phone, at which point the planks break and the car just whams down. The guns go flying. One of them falls into one goes out the window, one falls into the lap of the chauffeur, who's like, okay, put your hands up. And Dortmunder and Kelp are already starting to put their hands up, and the chauffeur is kind of fumbling around with a gun, and May just kind of reaches over, takes the gun, and it's just like, and gives it back to Dortmunder. It's like, hands up. It's like, okay, screw this novel. Just, handcuff him to the wheel. We're gonna all go in our car. Forget about all that other complex stuff. So they load up the kid, and when they bring him over to the other thing, it's like, that she's like, okay, we're gonna play make believe now, says the other girlfriend, and May is like, he's not that kind of kid. It's like, this kind of psychological calming is not really effective for me. So it was just like this very hilarious opening to this book, where I am assuming Blly da Kd will become one of the will end up as one of the criminals by the end of this thing, either helping them out or completely outsmarting them, because they are completely doofuses. So yeah, that is the first 13 chapters of Blly da Kd by Donald Westlake, which has started out very good. Sometimes I find his books start out very good. Like the first sections can be great, but then it can suddenly get a little on the slow side of the pacing. We'll see how it goes this time. But, hopefully I'll be chugging along with audiobook, listening to it that way, that it won't matter, because that was a very hilarious opening 13 chapters of this book. Yes, all right. More videos later.